Alright, hello guys, how are you doing? So let's see how this live review kind of thing works. If it works fine, then I can maybe post once a week, like a stream and then sort of a highlight or video on demand of the mouse. But let's see how it works. Actually, I'll cut out the music completely, maybe. No, let's have it on. We can start pretty soon. My setup is pretty scuffed. Let's see if I can help it a little bit. Not really. Well, it is what it is. I forgot to open this Kammyz gear when it started. Ah, okay. But yeah, so basically the whole idea is that I will review this mouse sort of live or talk about it a little bit. It's not a review. I've used it for about 4 days and yeah, it's quite a unique shape, as you most likely have seen if you've heard of the mouse. So the front is extremely low profile, which is kind of interesting. There is not that much new things about it, apart from the fact that, of course, it's XTRFY mouse without holes, so that's a new thing. So yeah. The coding, I'll start with that, because the one thing about the XTRFY mouse previously, which have had holes, is that those holes are circular, and they can actually improve my grip with them. But, I mean, with this, the surface finish or the coding is quite slippery, so that's a somewhat a negative thing, or it's a negative thing, let's say that. But because of the shape, I can still easily grip it, and I have no issues lifting it. There is good palm support, so it's not a deal breaker at all for me. The QC is good. Let me shut it down. So I've got no issues at all. Like if it tries shell flex, there is no flex at all, there is no creaking. Like, there is basically no creaking, absolutely no rattle. Yeah, I mean, the quality is pretty good with it, and in hand it does feel good, otherwise than the surface finish itself. The surface finish doesn't feel that good, it actually feels somewhat cheap. So, otherwise, I would say it feels high quality. I haven't actually I'm not quite sure how much it weighs, but it is really lightweight. Somebody can check it out how much it weighs on specs, but if we compare with the GPX, really light. Yeah, of course, yeah, this one feels really light as well. So I would guess it's something like 55 grams or something. It feels a little bit heavier than the GPX because it is shorter and smaller, so it's sort of the weight is on a smaller area, so that why in hand it does feel a little bit heavier than the GPX, but I don't really care too much about that. The clicks are actually feel really good. There is like a tiny bit of post travel. The post travel really helps to keep the clicks feel soft. The actuation is nice. Both of the clicks feel pretty much the same for me. Nothing to complain about the main mouse buttons. The side buttons are somewhat mushy. I would say these are still good. Usable. I don't really use side buttons that much, but definitely not the best side buttons I've tried. better than the super light, but not as good as, for example, the new X2s. These have really good side buttons, the new X2 Red that I have. Good, not the best I've tried for sure, but I would say it's for the 100 euros. I'm not expecting like perfect all around, so I would say for that it's really good. Scroll wheel feels just like previous XTRFY scroll wheels, and it's somewhat easy to actuate the button. The mouse feet, yeah, somebody asked about the mouse feet, so these are as good as on the M42 wireless or even better. They are actually now they are a little bit larger than some previous XTRFY mice. So these work very well with somewhat rougher surfaces, like for example the Venus Pro, which is basically my favorite mousepad ever made. I think this will never leave my desk for if I keep liking it this much. So really good with somewhat rougher pads, smooth pads, really rough pads, like for example the high-end. Nothing to complain about the feet. There is a lot of configuration with the mouse, so you can tune the debounce setting, and the lowest setting is 2 milliseconds. So the click latency should be around 4 milliseconds. I will test it in my full review, but that's my guess. This mouse is also the first Comp-X mouse that will have no idle delay, if you care about that. It's not really a big deal, it's just something that's nice to see that companies still are trying to improve their products, and so that's one thing that these smaller or medium tier companies can improve for sure. What else? So yeah, you can tune lift off distance, debounce time, of course polling rate, CPI, nothing that major. Overall, I would say I'm positively surprised. I'm really surprised by the click feel, because I was expecting that the click feel would be bad because these are so curved. So I wasn't expecting that the click would feel good in the front and all the way in the back. I was expecting it to be very light from here and very heavy from here, but not at all the case. You can hear that the sound is a little bit different from here and from here. There is like there is a very slight difference, but you can hear it. You can charge the mouse from here, which is a little bit funny. And it's this rubber thing that is in there, and basically that's the charging spot. Quite interested. Yeah, so basically I at least do not need this at all, so my hand is not touching that spot, so I'm just gonna keep it off, to be honest. I'm too lazy to put it back and take it out always. One thing is that it is quite small and it goes very far forward, deep inside of the mouse, so you just need a specific USB-C cable to hit that spot. But yeah, so positively surprised about the clicks. Nothing to complain really. They could be a little bit lighter to make them like feel really perfect for me. Is the M42 wireless good for 79 bucks? Yes, very good for sure. I won't answer many questions because this is like a live review, but yeah, that's the charging port, yeah. So let's talk about the shape, as that is definitely the most important thing and most interesting thing about this mouse. So the low profile front, which I think Rocket Jump Ninja was the first guy that was talking about this a lot. So the lower profile, the front is the better aim, according to him. I don't really agree with that too much. I think it makes some sense in some cases, but yeah, I don't agree completely with that. So there are many higher profile mice that I am extremely well with. There are many lower profile mice that I am extremely well with. But so the thing about this mouse is that it somewhat has like a super light kind of shape. So it is quite safe. It quite gradually rounds up towards the middle, and the hump is sort of towards the middle. And at least the way I grip the mouse, my hand never hits this hump in the middle. So, for example, when I claw it, the bottom of my palm is hitting the mouse, but nothing above that. So the middle of my palm is not touching the mouse at all. The thing about the back is that it is quite gradual, but your hand will hit this area when you claw. Aggressive claw, relaxed claw, doesn't really matter. But you can't really properly relax claw this mouse because the right side here, the button rounds down towards the front so hard that there is no room in the front, and the mouse is actually quite short as well. So if you try to relaxed claw, you're gonna have your fingers hit the edge of the button, and everybody who has tried the MM711 or the MM710 knows that this feels horrible. And basically every time you right click you can feel it on your ring finger, and it's really irritating. But I like the relaxed claw, but with this mouse I sort of naturally make a slightly more aggressive claw, so my fingers are a little bit curled. I usually like to make a quite relaxed claw, but with this one it just feels super natural for some reason for me to just relax claw a little bit. There is like a slight corner here. You can't really see it on camera. Doesn't look like corner at all here, but here is like a slight corner in this spot, and it's a perfect spot for me to hold my fingers. It's interesting because it feels similar to Superlight, but with the Superlight I never have that consistent spot right here where I hold my fingers, but with this one, it's just I always find that spot and I'm just basically gripping it the same way all the time. And the one reason why I want to test this lot more, not just the 4 days or whatever I've used it, is that I want to see that do I find it consistently and is there some other grip that I enjoy more. But basically for me it seems that for any kind of claw, so you can pincer claw this really easily so that the sort of right side of your palm is gonna touch the mouse but not much more. Feels super comfortable because the back still has that contact point here on the right side. Yeah, it is smaller than the Superlight. It feels quite a lot smaller than the Superlight. in length especially. So yeah. So feels very comfortable, surprisingly, for multiple claw grip styles, but remember that you can relaxed claw it. I personally wouldn't fingertip grip this. It feels okay, but with my skin type, it's very, it's quite slippery. So if my fingers are my only contact points, I'm not really having enough. I don't have enough control with it, so I would not fingertip it. Yeah, I guess that's my main points with the fingertip grip. Palm grip is not possible unless you have small hands. So for example, with my 19 x 10 cm hands, my fingers are all the way in the front and it just doesn't feel that good with the hump. But with claw, it does feel very, very nice. Yeah, so let's talk about the low profile of the front here. It's interesting to me because when I claw this mouse naturally like this, I'm not really that far forward with my fingers. And I can't reach the front of the mouse at all if I claw it like a normal person would do it. But let's say I have a video about my own favorite grip style with some mice. So basically when I put it a little bit more towards the front, so my palm is resting on top of the mouse, and then when I grip it, I can reach the front. And with this way, you can abuse that low profile front, but it's not really that great with this grip style because you still have a little bit, such small amount of room here. So it doesn't feel that good, but it's doable. And this is I would say this is only good if you really want that, low profile front. It's not really that similar to Orochi version 2, like not at all I would say. Somebody asked if it's similar to Orochi version 2. To X2 Mini, the X2 Mini does not really have that much similarity with it. These are just entirely different shapes. Let's see, is there any other questions? It's smaller than the Superlight. Yes, I think I answered that already. So quite a bit smaller than the Superlight. Yeah, Clockter, it is pretty small. So like, I was surprised by how small it is. So I would definitely call this a small mouse. So yeah, I think that's the only way you can really abuse the low button height in the front. That basically you just plant your palm on top of the mouse. Then with my 19 x 10 cm hands I can reach the front. It feels good, but I wouldn't say it feels the best. And there is also the other issue that if you want to use both of the side buttons, then my thumb is all the way near the front of the front side button, so it's really hard for me to use the back side button. So, but yeah, you can adjust on how much your palm is on top of the mouse, of course, and yeah. But basically, I like my fingers curled up a little bit like this at least, so I would have to be quite on top of the, quite a lot on top of the mouse. Let me drink a little. How would you hold it for fingertip grip? Let me put the music back on. To be honest, I would not really buy this mouse for fingertip grip. Unless, I mean, it might be interesting to fingertip grip, but that's only if your skin type is good with the surface, so... Or you get grip tapes. Because you can kind of do a weird relaxed fingertip and your fingers are quite far up forward and then your the button height is quite low even here. What is the taste of the mouse? The M2K review will be, I don't know when, but it will be a while. So yes, by this I would say, after 4 days of using it, I'm happy with it, but I would say that this is mainly a claw grip mouse. But yeah, this is a really nice to try something that's not quite standard. So I was really interested to see how it feels with the low button height. For now I would say that I'm not really getting the benefits of that too much. So for me it would be the same if this mouse actually just had the same kind of front as GPX or something. So it would be kind of like this. And it would just end there. Nuke, it's not really... It's nothing like the Starlight, to be honest. So the Starlight is a little bit curved and yeah, not very rounded. So it has quite edgy corners all the way in here, everywhere. And this mouse is very rounded, so it's quite a lot like Superlight in that sense. So every corner is super rounded, super safe. You can basically, when you claw, you can hold your fingers in many different spots and it will all feel comfortable. As long as you don't relax claw like this. Pincer claw works well, as I already mentioned, so I would say any kind of claw apart from relaxed claw will work just fine. Low height is gimmick since 90% of people place their fingers close to the scroll wheel. Actually, I usually place them quite a bit forward, a little bit forward from the scroll wheel, so I just scroll like this. So I usually have this with many mice actually. So I wouldn't call it a gimmick just because of that. And yeah. It's not really like you can't... I would say that you can't state something like that as a general thing. Or you can't say that 90% of people place their fingers there because you don't have the data there. But yeah, so overall, very good mouse. Very good for 99 euros to be honest. I was expecting a little bit more, but I'm not sure what is the thing that is holding the price back. I'm gonna test the performance, of course. I haven't done it yet. There are no issues that I can find in-game. In terms of performance, that is. The shape feels good for me for a claw. I'm pretty sure that I won't be maining this mouse, but this is one of the most fun mice that I've reviewed I will review in like, I think like 6 months or something. It's been so much of the same, basically. All mice are so similar, but there is at least something new about this one. I would say, I will put the takeaways. So the main takeaways for now is that the coding, really not, I would say really bad for my skin type. So if I wouldn't get a consistent good grip with it, it would be it would be a horrible thing. But for now it's not that bad, because yeah, I can get that consistent grip and the coating doesn't really, or the surface finish doesn't really change the mouse or ruin it completely. And of course I could get grip tapes. Shape, good for claw. Good for basically any kind of claw, but relaxed. I wouldn't palm grip this mouse, doesn't really feel that great. I would not fingertip grip this mouse. You might want to if the surface finish feels good for you. How long did that take? Let's see, where I can see how long I've been live. 20 minutes, okay. So now I can answer some questions. I will cut the stream out in like 9 minutes or something. Is it like a stock OEM surface? It's basically like the... Actually, it's a little bit rougher than the X2, but stock OEM surface usually is quite soft, quite smooth. I mean, yeah, these are basically all pretty much OEM surfaces. I'm not sure like how... It's not similar to the Lamzu. The Lamzu surface finish I actually like quite a bit. I'm not... This might even be coated, to be honest. Could be. But with the X2 I have similar issues, but actually not as much. The X2 is a little bit smoother. So the the surface finish on the M8 is worse than the X2, for example, at least for my skin type. One of the worst I've tried in a long time is the... I don't know if because the HDS Plus coating felt, or the surface finish felt better when I got it. But after I had used this for about a month or something, it just felt super slippery. The same as actually the XTRFY Pro, which I can't use at all anymore without the grip tapes. So these two are something that are some of the worst, have some of the worst surface finishes for my skin type that I've tried. The XTR is also something like, when I got it, it felt very good, very grippy, much better than the Viper V2 Pro. Then after a month, I'm not sure if it's because it's winter and my skin is a little bit more dry, or if it has worn out, but the XTR V3 Pro surface finish doesn't feel grippy at all at this point for me. The Superlight coating feels very good for me. It's one of the better coatings I've tried. Almost as good as the Waxy and Zowie coating, but not quite, of course, not quite. How is the side buttons? Side buttons are good, better than the Superlight side buttons for sure. I have the Sora coming in, I suppose. At least they told me they sent it to me. Would this mouse, I wouldn't call this a fingertip grip mouse, so in my opinion it does not work for fingertip grip that well. It depends entirely on your skin type, so if the surface feels grippy for you, I would say it can be good for fingertip grip. Yeah, I'm a software engineer and I live in Finland, yeah. XTR V3 Pro didn't side creak out of the box. This has no creaking whatsoever, somebody asked that as well. Yeah, this mouse is unique and it is good. So the design is good and it does make sense. I'm not sure how they advertise it, like do they mainly advertise it for claw or what, but in my opinion this is just mainly a claw grip mouse. It can be used for fingertip grip in some cases and maybe even for palm with smaller hands. But yeah, it's hard to say. Just looks solid for small hands. Yeah, I think it will be good for small hands. I think the length is going to be very good for small hands. If your hands are like quite thin, then you might have issues with the width, but I don't really think so. And it should also work for large hands, I would guess. Let's answer a few more questions. How is the click latency? I haven't tested yet, but I think it would be around 4 milliseconds. Let's see. This one won't have any idle delay. It's the first Comp X MCU mouse that will not have any idle delay. I'm not sure of the solution. Did they decrease the power? Did they remove the power saving mode or something, or did they make it so that it initiates slower than the other power saving? Slower than with the other mice, which would mean that the battery life is worse than with other Comp X mice. What? Oh my, okay. I guess I'm ending the stream if I can't fix the camera. Is it back? Okay, that would have been a quick ending of the stream. My camera is scuffed. The micro HDMI port that I'm using is a little bit scuffed, so it's basically, it has a bad contact, so it might just unplug itself at any time. Is it possible that they will fix idle delay on XTRFY wireless, the previous wireless mice? They will for sure fix it. I talked to them already, so it will be fixed with their previous mice. But it's not a high priority at the moment, and it shouldn't really be. It's like a really what's the word, niche issue, let's say that. So it only matters in one game and in very specific situations and extremely specific situations. So even if you wait 5 seconds and shoot with your gun, it might not matter at all, depending on the click timing requirements, I would say. Is it smaller than the Zowie S2? The shape is so different that I wouldn't call it smaller or larger than the S2, to be honest. It's just very different. It's similar size category, I would say, but there are many mice in that size category. I haven't tried wired. But the issue is that I don't have a good cable anywhere here that I can use. Actually, I can use this if this fits. This cable won't be plugged in, but I can at least try how uncomfortable this is. Well, the way I grip it, I can feel the cable, so, so I would say that you can't use it in wired mode. I can like somewhat feel the cable here. It would be actually fun to try it this way, but yeah. I don't recommend using it in wired mode. I lost the chat for a second there. I'm not sure. Well, they put the cable there because it doesn't fit on the front. XTRFY ranking, M4, M42, MZ1 and this one. They're also different. I can't really rank them that well. I love the M42, I love the M4, I love the MZ1. I actually didn't like the MZ1 that much when it was wired, but the wireless one I do like more. And it has the new hump, which makes it a little bit better for my grip style. But I did enjoy the old hump as well. I don't know, hard to say. I would say like this is I would say this is more safe than the MZ1. This is maybe even more safe than the M42 and the M4 because it's so rounded. Surprisingly, I feel it's a little bit less safe than the GPX, although it has the same kind of characteristics of the design. So there are barely any curves anywhere. But yeah, for me it's easier to get a consistent grip with this than it is with the GPX. I do like this. Yeah, it does look like a smaller katana. It has some similar things behind it. Yeah, thank you, Eli Poli. Okay, I can stream for 3 more minutes, let's say that, or 5 minutes, and then I will end. And people can watch this afterwards. Let's see how this does, because it's super easy to do this live. It didn't go as well as I would want, but yeah, I had some issues with the gear. It's irritating because I have to look. There is the sort of the feed that I can see, so I have to make sure that the camera is working because the micro USB port is quite fucked. And then I have chat in here, so I have to like shake my head and watch all around. a little bit irritating, but if people are enjoying this when they watch the sort of the recording, then I suspect that I will do this more. No beer review. Yeah, no beer review this time. I drank too much beer last week and then the weekend before that, so... Main potential. I don't think so. I don't think I will main this mouse. Mainly because I'm pretty sure at this point that I will main the XTRFY V3 Pro. I don't know. It's not as good as the shape is not as good as the EC2 or the Outset AX, but it's wired. It performs better than most wired mice. Sorry, it's wireless and it performs better than most wired mice, so... With the grips now, yeah, I don't see any reason for me not to use it. Review of snacks to go with the beer. Maybe next time, guys. Do you feel the lower front gives you more control? I don't really agree with that. That a lower front will give you more precision because, for example, the XTRFY V3 Pro does not have that low front and I can still have good precision, good control. I feel that if a mouse has higher front, you kind of want your thumb and your what's this finger called in English? These fingers need to be like in close contact with each other, or not in contact, but somewhat close to each other. So, for example, if I would have my grip like this, I just feel like I do not have much control. What I'm talking about? Much control, much precision. But when my thumb and my index finger, thank you guys, is quite close to each other, I just feel a little bit more precise. I don't exactly know why that is, but yeah, that's the way I at least feel. Doesn't apply to all mice, so I just sometimes it does seem to me that when the lower profile the front is, the less it matters. So for example, well here for example, I can still have the two fingers quite close to each other. But there are some mice where it's not possible and I still enjoy using them. I think you need the sensor to be where your fingertips are to be more precise with low buttons. I don't necessarily agree with that. The sensor position here it's all the way in the middle. So it will feel a little bit weird if you hold your palm on top of the mouse and aim. But I think the sensor positioning is just something you need to get used to, so it's not something that makes or breaks a mouse. How long can it take to fully adjust to a new gaming mouse? It depends on the game that you play, I think, at least for me. So if I play CSGO, I need to basically... CSGO is a weird game because it doesn't necessarily require that much aim. But if your aim is off, you're gonna be like, let's say you play at a decent level in Face It or something, you're just gonna get wrecked. Every time you peek a corner, you're just gonna get wrecked. So unless you can abuse your crosshair placement all the time, which never is the case because, yeah, you know, it's not possible. So you will make those mistakes with your crosshair placement and then you need to hit that flick, and if you don't hit the flick, hit your first few bullets, then you're dead. And then again on any other game, like I played Apex, Overwatch, Warzone 2 now a little bit. I actually enjoy Overwatch 2, by the way, quite a lot. So those games, it doesn't really matter that much if you don't hit your first bullet. So there is no pressure for you to hit that. So for that reason, for me, it takes the longest for me to get adjusted with a new mouse in CSGO. In Overwatch 2 or Apex or Warzone or pretty much any other game, it's less than a week most of the time. I don't really need to feel comfortable all the time because I have that option to, you know, in Overwatch 2 I'll respawn, I can play behind my tank, you know, I can get healed if I fuck up once a little bit or something. So there is always that escape route or something, and pretty much the same in Apex, like... a small mistake should not cause you to die unless you play like dumb. So yeah, but in CS:GO, even if you play smart and you make a little miss with your aim, you can die and the round can be there. So that small mistake can be a big one in terms of you winning or losing a game. Hopefully I answered your question. So let's say anything from 1 week to maybe like 3 or 4 weeks even for CS. And for CS, I use my like game sense a lot more than in any other game. So if I don't feel comfortable with the mouse, I'm thinking about how I'm gripping it, what I need to adjust to feel more comfortable, instead of predicting where the enemies are coming, where my team is, how my communication is and stuff. So in CSGO you just need to focus on so many things if you want to be good, if you want to play well. And in other games it doesn't really apply that much. So yeah. CS doesn't allow for inconsistency, demands precision at all times. Yeah, that's what I would say. So yeah. So I think Voltaic made a really good tweet about this. Let me show you guys, I can link it on the chat. They made up one of the, because usually you see so many bad takes about aiming and which game requires good aim and stuff like that, because it doesn't really make sense to compare two completely different games. But so this is one of the best takes I've seen in the subject. So basically here they just, I can actually show my screen, wait a sec. So we can look it together. So yeah, here. So basically how aim heavy the game is, and then there is how much aim matters for wins. So I don't completely agree with this, but I think it's quite close. So I think that yeah, Overwatch 2, if you play hit scan, it's super aim heavy. Of course, it's a lot of positioning as well. I mean, if you play dumb, you're gonna die. It doesn't matter how good your aim is. But still, like the peak that you can reach with just aim is the highest, I would say. And the possibility of abusing your aim is much higher than in any other game. Then Quake, it's also quite high, but I wouldn't put it this high. I don't really even want to comment on any other games. I would somewhat agree that CS would be somewhere here. And then how much aim matters for wins, I think this is the thing for me. So I would maybe put Quake a little bit lower even. Don't know anything about Fortnite, no clue what this game, I don't know about these, but let's comment about CSGO. So CSGO, yeah, of course, if you can't aim, you're not gonna win. And yeah, in here, of course, Overwatch is lower, Apex is lower. So for me, that makes a lot of sense. And it's a good take in such a subject that is like so talked about and very misunderstood, I would say. Can you show the fingertip grip on this mouse? You can't really, I can't personally fingertip grip this mouse that well. The shape is suitable for it, but the surface finish is quite slippery, so doesn't feel good for me, and I can't really have much control when I fingertip grip. Yo, Henway, how are you doing? How long has the stream been? 39 minutes, okay, 2 more minutes. Is the Venus Pro very soft? It is quite soft. I think it's the best mousepad I've ever tried, to be honest. For sure my favorite mousepad at the moment, and I don't see any other mousepad beating it for now. I thought that I would main the Saturn Pro instead of this, and I kind of thought that this is a useless mousepad because the OG's Venus was already so good. But now that I've used this more, it's it's amazing. It just has a little bit more control than the Venus, has a little bit softer base. Doesn't it just depend on TTK? Higher TTK games needs better aim, right? It doesn't, it's not that simple really. I wouldn't at all say that myself. I think that's a way too simplistic way to look at it. I'm not sure, like, yeah, the Venus Pro is like a speedy pad that has good control. So it's quite a lot slower than the Otsu. This is basically, people call this an Hayate Otsu clone. It doesn't have that much similar features with the Otsu in my opinion. It's actually quite a lot like the Saturn, but just a little bit faster. But it has a rougher surface, so you can feel the feedback. I've actually tried IEMs quite a lot. Where are they? In my opinion, the audio gear doesn't matter as much, but I have these... What are these called again? Etymotic Ear 2 SE or something. These are by far the best IEMs I've tried. Maybe even the best audio gear that I've tried for gaming. Super, super good, but for me, the wireless convenience is just way too much. Please fix my computer next week. I will. Sora or new XTRFY? I haven't tried the Sora, so I can't answer. What is GPX? That is GPX Mini. It does look like GPX Mini. Yes, it does. Yeah, I'm gonna review the HSK Pro. My Overwatch 2 rank. I think I only play with my friends, and I think I'm Gold 2 or something at the moment. I would say that I'm way lower ranked than I should be, because I get called a Smurf basically every game, but yeah. I don't want to be too high ranked because I think the gameplay in itself is quite boring. But I like playing, for example, Treasure, Cassidy. Those are fun champions or whatever those are called. Heroes. What are those heroes or champions in Overwatch? But those are fun to play. Nobody at that rank knows how to play Treasure at least. So if you're like a decent Treasure, you can basically just carry some of the games by yourself almost. If the supports can't do, the supports can't do much when you just attack them. CS:GO DM gameplay with the mouse. Not now. I will end the stream in like 2 minutes. I've said it 5 times already that I will end it in 2 minutes, but now it's for sure in 2 minutes. Mouse camera looks a bit soft. I don't know, it might be your quality or it might be the stream, but it looks good on my screen at least. QKC VK4. Yeah, QKC VK4s, if you have the original ones, not the revisioned ones, those are actually really good as well. Any wireless lag on a new XTRFY, they claim it's lag free. I mean, it's the same as most other mice if you watch my wireless mouse lag video, so I would claim that like all wireless mice are lag free. They are not as good as wired mice, but most are not as good as wired mice. But does it matter? In my opinion, not really. But it's up to you, you know. Best ergo mouse. The Razer Deathera V3 Pro is the best ergo mouse by far. But it's not the best shape. So the EC2 and the Outset AX are my favorite ergo shapes. But yeah, the Deathera is just wireless and lightweight and so good. LA1 versus Sora. I don't have the Sora yet. LA1 is really good as well. I'm not sure when it's gonna get released. Yeah, I mean, my QKC VK4s are actually already a little bit broken, so yeah, they have some contact issues as well. What you don't like about the Deathera V3 Pro shape? There isn't much that I don't like. I just prefer the EC2 and the Outset. So the front right corner is something that is better in the EC2. The EC2 is also a little bit smaller. The Deathera is a little bit too high profile from the left side right here. It just doesn't feel as natural to me as the Outset AX and the EC2. But yeah, I would say that like if I just talk about shapes, the Zowie and Vaxi shapes are by far the most natural ones I've ever tried. Like, I don't really understand, like, it doesn't make sense that the Outset AX is such a good shape, but it's just this. If you make such changes to the EC2 and it ends up being that great, I don't think anybody else could do that but Vaxi or the ex-Zowie designers. Where's the Viper Mini Wireless? Does the M8 feel similar to the old Intelli 1.1? It feels a lot smaller, but it like you get that it somewhat reminds you of the shape, but of course the front right corner is entirely different because of the low bottom profile. But yes, I do get the vibe of the old Intelli 1.1. Heard about the new Ghost Glides? Never heard about that. I ordered custom file mouse 10s with... How much did it cost? I saw the guy who tweeted about it. I don't think the file mouse Starlight 12 is such a good shape that you would want to pay as much as he would ask. So you cannot house grip it completely. I somewhat, I mean I can, but I need to like curl my fingers more than I should. And if I house grip it, I can reach the front edge of the mouse. I haven't tested it too much like this because it just feels more comfortable and super natural for me when I just almost like standard aggressive claw it. 200 euros, what? Is it? No way it cost you that little, what? Do you have information on Zowie wireless? No. It does feel like a smaller katana super light. Okay, I will end when the timer hits 50 minutes. I will end the stream, so in 3 minutes. And this time I will for sure end it. Yeah, this is the Venus Pro. It is at the moment. The reviews for this and the Saturn Pro should be out in maybe 2 weeks or something. I've used these. I don't know how. Maybe like 6 months already. 4 months. Maybe not that much. I used them before the Hayato Otsu review. Then I used the Hayato Otsu for about I don't know how long. And then I started using these ones again. I basically had a pre-production version of the Saturn and Venus Pro, I don't know, for maybe a year or something. Ah, okay, Eli Poly, now it makes sense, yeah. Are you gonna try the Ninjutsu Sora? Yeah, they told me that they will send it, but I haven't heard anything after that. Let's hope they will send it. At this point, I feel that if somebody doesn't send me a mouse, there is something wrong with it. And I think I might have been right, because Vanzer at least didn't send me for some reason. They told me they would send me their mice, I don't know what they're called, the 2 mice. But yeah, it seems like they have some issues. So yeah, and I suspect that there might be some performance issues that they don't want people to know about. But yeah, that's just my guess. You need to drink some beer. That is true. That is true. I would have more clarity in my thoughts if I would have some beer in me. Yeah, that is possible, Eli Poly, of course. After Vanzer mice, they're okay. Yeah, I don't think okay is like what companies are after. Saturn Pro had a good replacement for the QCK. Yeah, I think so. But it's of course a lot more expensive. So if you want a QCK replacement, you might just get the original Saturn. Not that much more expensive, but way higher quality, better overall. It's a little bit faster, but yeah. Yeah, Eli Poly, I've been very busy with my day job, and sadly I do like my day job. So if I'm busy there, I kind of use a lot of time with that. So yeah, and then the reviews do get a hit. So at this point, I think I will post reviews. If this video, like when it goes live on YouTube, if it does okay, then I will for sure do 1 stream per week. 1 week is stream or video on demand, so you get a recording of this stream. And then the next week I will post a video review, and then again a week after another, you know. Nothing too special, don't like the coding, but they come with grips, extra skates, arm sleeve, 395 sensor, but they could be better overall. Yeah, that's sort of what I kind of expect. Aren't they 2000 Hz as well? Have you tried the MM712 yet? No, I don't think I will try that. It doesn't really... I'm not too interested in trying that. Now that I review less, I will also not accept as many mice as I did before. Start recommending mice to your boss and co-workers. Get a raise. Does the hum feel similar to the Superlight? Yes, it does feel somewhat similar to the Superlight. There is a little bit more palm contact for me in the back than with the Superlight than there is with the M8. Did you show the charging port? Yeah, I did, and I tried using it wired, and let's say it's not easy. How often or when do you use the Wooding 60? Wooding 60 hasn't left my table in ages, but I have this custom keyboard that I made, and I plugged it in actually today, mainly for B-roll that I shot. So it looks cooler, and I left it for the stream as well. But yeah, the Wooding is insanely good. You could do like Soul and get a ton of e-waste. Yeah, he has a lot of that. Okay, I'll answer 2 more questions and then I will end the stream. I heard you can update the firmware to get 2K, but what I have is the basic version. There is pro version, which I think... okay. Yeah, the shapes, the Ergo shape looks interesting to me, and I like the guy behind Vansra quite a lot, though, considering how much I've talked to him. So I do like him, so... But it did seem weird. I mean, they told me they would send them, like, I don't know, 2 months ago or something. Then after I saw people tweeting about those mice, I DM'd him and I asked that, yo, where are my mice? Then he mentioned to me that, okay, we didn't send these to you, but hey, we got this version, this better version that is coming up, and I want you to try this one and review it. And I was like, okay, well, that reads to me like I didn't send these to you because there is something wrong with these. Maybe the performance isn't quite up to par against like other mice in the same price category. So yeah, usually I get the feeling like something like that, but yeah, might be that they forgot or something, which doesn't make sense, of course. XTRFY M4 wide. Yeah, XTRFY M4 is very good, yeah. I would want the TKL version of the Wooding as well. I prefer the Venus Fuddle. I don't have the MM712. Your mic got pretty quiet, did it? Yo, serious, I'm just about to end. X2 Mini is perfect. Okay, it wasn't a question, I think. Any chance the final mouse keyboard gonna be better than Wooding? No way. LethalGamingGear V3 with... Yeah, it is pretty huge for your hand size. Serious, have you tried the LethalGamingGear V3 Pro already? They sent the mice to review, they are still on reviewers with... sound is good, okay. There seems to be a little bit of a lag on the stream. So the latency is a little bit higher than normal. You should try it. I can hook you up if you want, or I can try to hook you up. Let's see. Or does your org have a sponsor already? But yeah, I think this is the time to end. Let's see how it does. It's nice that YouTube has this streams tab now on channels, so I can actually have my streams public and people can watch these sort of reviews afterwards. Like if you missed the the start of the video or something, you can rewatch it. Stream has idle delay issue. Yeah. Alright, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and enjoy your Friday night. If you missed like the front or something, or you have some questions about it, I talked about the shape and pretty much everything about it in some parts of the stream. So this will be public right after I end. So yeah, enjoy your weekends. Have a good night.